Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Kovac Enterprises. First off, I want to kind of make a quick correction on my previous video. I believe my title that got revealed was episode 3. I typed in there when I was editing it, and it was actually for episode 2. So with that being said, this is officially the start of episode 3. As we continue our progress on the American Chopper V-Twin custom build. So far, for following the instructions, we were up to step number 10. So what you see here in front of you is basically steps 11, 12, and 13 that we are going over first, and then we'll get to step 14 in a little bit. First off, I kind of stopped what I was doing to kind of start with the decal process, especially on the front and rear fender. So we basically cut out the decals off the sheet there, and I'll kind of bring this into you right here. Now, because of the curvature of the fenders themselves, I went ahead and used two of my go-to decal solutions, which is the Microsol set and the Microsol Sol, or I should say Microsol. All right, so there's the one here that I started with, and then I basically went with the Microsol setting solution for the decals themselves. These are pretty old decals, so I wanted to make sure and be careful, and with lots of patience I actually brushed on quite a bit of the Microsol setting solution to temper it down onto the curvature of the rear fender here, and I used an actual Q-tip to lightly draw out all the bubbles and whatnot from front to back. Once I was kind of satisfied with that, we went with the Future to apply a coat. Once this was, I kind of let this set overnight with the Microsol, and then I came back with the Pledge floor polish and brushed it on to seal it once again. So it came out pretty good. So that was the rear fender there, and as you can see, we'll kind of maybe bring this in a little closer so you can see that. And this is how the front fender kind of came up with the curve of that. So it pretty much is all nicely smoothed out the best I can. And once again, we used the Pledge to seal it all in once it was satisfied. So those were the two stripes there. And of course, we had some other little decals. I don't know if you can see this or not, but we have the one right here on the frame itself. There's one on either side of the frame there. So that's kind of like a little warning decal on that. And if we kind of slowly turn this thing around, it's kind of hard to pick up with the light and everything, but there is a real small decal on the chrome fixture here, which has a black V2 on it. So that's there. I can try and take a close-up picture later on. So, okay, I'll go ahead and put this back here once again. And as you can see, let me bring it in a little bit closer and I'll kind of hold on to it. It's kind of hard now once we've got the wheels on there for balancing purposes. I'll bring this down a little bit more. So we went ahead and attached the two more chrome pieces here on either side of the frame. And this is supposed to help put the rear fender in place over the rear tire. So those are nicely glued in as well. As far as the, we're kind of doing this the hard way. All right. Okay, so back to step number 11. Once the decals were in place, then I started working on actually two tubings tube C is recommending you cut it at 30 millimeters. That's what you see right here, which actually gets attached to one of the spark plugs on the far side of the engine block there. And then of course the smaller tubing, which was instructed to cut at 8 millimeters, goes from this chrome kind of box here into this spark plug right there. So that's a very small length right there for the 8 millimeters. So those were done, and the spark plugs were glued in, as well as the chrome plating here for the box on the frame. So that was all done, and then we went ahead, and let me kind of put this back up. We'll take this down here. So next up was actually the actual assembling of the front fork. First we assembled the left side of it, and then we once that was done, we assembled the front wheel and attached the right side of the fork itself. And once that was done, we also attached the let me kind of see if I can bring this down a little bit more. Okay, so once that was done, we can then attach another tubing, which is tube E, and tube F. And of course tube E is 190 millimeters, and that's coming off of the back end of this right here. And then we've got the next one was the tube F, which is 170 millimeters. And then small print, of course, that was the misprint that I explained earlier, where it gives you 80 millimeters, but it's actually 170 millimeters. So I cut that to the 170 millimeters, and that's what's coming off of this side of the fork. So that's the 170 part right there. So that was done, and of course then we glued the rims together, attached the rubber tire on there, and then we got everything kind of put together and glued into place, and attached the front fender. So that's basically 100% complete on that part there. And then we went to step number 14, which consisted of installing this particular chrome piece right here, as well as our two chrome pieces right here, and then to attach it to this part of the frame here. Now the instructions did say to not glue this and this into this part of the frame here, so that your front wheel can kind of turn. So that's where we're at right there with that. And kind of put that one off to the side there. So okay, we'll kind of back this off here. Okay, so that's basically where we're at right now, up to the like I said, step 14 of the instructions. So we pretty much are halfway through it, and from there we're going to go from step 15 through 21. So with that being said, let's I'll go ahead and do a little bit more work here, and see if we can't, like say, put the at this point the handlebars on, and the front headlamp, and a few other things, and we will be back shortly. So see you soon. Alright, and we are back. As you can see, we've done a little bit more progress on the bike itself. We actually added the handlebars to the forklift, as well as the brake and grips. Attached that to the handlebars as well, and then we started with actually attaching the tubing that came from the front wheel and all the way up the shaft of the fork, and attach it to the grips themselves. So that is complete. Let me kind of see if we can flip this thing around so you can get a front perspective. So we went ahead and attached the front headlamp to the fork as well. So that is now glued in, and at this point we went ahead and I guess this was like step number 17, where we attached the actual kickstand with the gear shift and the front peg, as you can see right here, to the shift lever. And as far as this one chrome piece here, I actually had to pull one of the tubing from the spark plug so I could insert the chrome piece in between the two V twin engines, and then I reattached the tubing. So kind of jumped the gun on that one. We also have, if you can see back here, we have the rear passenger peg installed. We also basically installed the rear fender, so that is now in its position. And so this is kind of like where we're at right now. I don't know if I mentioned to you before or not, but with attaching the tubing to some of the points on the bike and the, like I said, the handlebars and whatnot, because the hole of the tubing is so small, I actually kind of dropped a couple of drops of windshield wiper fluid as a lubricant, and with some tweezers, and that kind of helped to slide the tubing over the pins that, you know, to hold it in place. So that kind of worked out really well. And then once everything was set up, I just kind of put a little dab of some thin cement on there just to kind of hold it in place. So okay, so this is kind of like where we're at right now at this point. So pretty much as far as if you're following the instructions here with me, we're pretty much up to step number 17 of this build. So like I said, there's a good look at it. We'll do one more like little turnaround so you can see from both sides how we're progressing along here. There you go. So there you have it. So I'll keep this short and sweet, and that's where we're at for this episode of the American Chopper V Twin Custom. And like I said, we'll keep moving along with this for our next steps. And I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we will catch you on the next video as we're moving along. So with that being said, this is Kovac Enterprises, and we are signing off.